right, hey everyone, we're going to go through, Bill had a question on the podcast about how he's going to fix his horrendous internal rotation. So as we talked about, he has really good external rotation. Let's just demonstrate that real quick. So get on your back. Yeah, you can see he's externally rotating his hip that way. But if we try to bring him back the other way, that way, it's not so good. And so we want to fix that imbalance. And a lot of us have that problem. So I'll show you kind of a three-step process. First, going through a warm-up, so to speak, kind of getting it a little loose. And then we'll go through that 90-90 corrective. Again, there's a bunch of ways to do this, but this is a pretty good one to isolate internal rotation. All right, the first thing we're going to do, Bill, go ahead. Let's get down on our elbows, and go ahead and spread your knees. They don't have to be super wide, but then come forward on your elbows so your feet are off the ground. So you're going to be on your knees and your elbows, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift our hips to the left and rotate our right leg over. Then we're going to shift our hips to the right, rotate the left leg over. And do about 20 reps back and forth, just nice and easy. So back and forth. So this movement, when the foot flips over, that's internal rotation. Right here on the right, there on the left.
Am I sinking my hips down?
Yeah, you can sink your hips down. Again, this is just kind of warming the hips up a little bit. So kind of back and forth. This is going to make the other exercises a little more tolerable, just so you can at least get some blood flowing through there and get that joint moving at least a little bit in that direction. And then if you want to, after we do the corrective, you can do this again and it'll probably feel a lot looser. And you'll notice, if it's looser, you'll notice your foot's going to go further this way in internal rotation. All right. How's that feel for you?
Pretty good. When I'm sitting like this, I can't even spread my feet.
Right, exactly. And so that's what we're going to fix. So we just wanted to warm them up real quick. So now, let's go ahead and take a seat. So the 90-90 position is here. So we're going to have our left, in my left shin right here, my left foot here, and my right knee and top of my quad is going to be right underneath my left foot. So this right hip is actually in internal rotation. Just as an example, so this one's externally rotated, this one's internally rotated. This would be external rotation. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have him turn to the side of his internally rotated leg. So we're going to just turn over there. How's that feel for you?
I got a lot of pressure on
Yeah, right there, right?
Yeah.
And so, so this was a little easier for me. I'm not great, hugely flexible, but probably a little more than Bill is with this movement. And then we're going to come back the other way, just to kind of get a good stretch in. We're not really doing a whole lot with this one. I just want to get that full range of motion. But this, as we turn back towards our internally rotated leg, kind of twist and then kind of lean the torso that way.
I don't get all that there.
In which, if you see what he's doing, is when he twists, he really can't lean towards that side because that hip is really lacking in internal rotation. As I can lean over just a little bit further. So that's pretty tight. Let's check the other side.
I can't really have my heel out here. I have to.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Really cool.
So the big thing is, though, get this lined up. So this is straight across, right? Yeah, and it makes it harder, like Bill said. So if he tried to bring his foot out here, that even stresses it more. So when you're starting this, go ahead and bring your heel in closer. Okay? And so now go ahead, Bill, I'll just take you through this one. I want you to turn towards me now and try to lean down over that leg.
Without pulling?
Yeah, you can hold on to it. It's fine.
That's about what I got.
Yeah, and go back and forth. And, as the weeks go by, and if he does this nightly, this will become easier for him. And then what he'll do is he'll bring this foot out here. And then he'll do the same thing. So that's a true 90-90 right there, where this and this, it's not quite, but it's almost there. That's a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, and it's like pushing me this way.
It's pushing them that way, right? Now tuck it back in a little bit. Now you can come a little bit more this way, right? So we're not getting as much pure internal rotation here. We're starting to kind of just get at it.
I do have some tightness from the MCL kind of pull there.
Well, the reason why he's having MCL pulling in the tightness in the knee as well is because of lack of hip mobility. Knees are a hinge, right? They can only do this. Hips should be super mobile. And when they're not in one direction, the knee kind of gets the brunt of it because it can only hinge. So that's what he's feeling right now with the knee. Okay, so he'll just work that, and he'll sit there. You know, you can sit in front of the front of the TV set, and just kind of nice and easy breathing, and you can kind of park yourself here for a while, and then rotate out of it. So that's the kind of static version of it. Now, you can get a little more dynamic with it, same start position. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to roll up over the shin, push my hips out, and then before I come down, I'm twisting over this internally rotated leg as I come down, right? Then I square myself up, hips forward, rotate, and down. It gives us some control over this too. This is going to be really rough for you because, and I don't necessarily recommend that you do this yet until you get just a little more.
Do I have to have my foot outwards like that rather than like?
Well, I'm able to do this now, but you're going to have it in there closer right now just because and that's fine. That's just
even like shoelaces down feels much more comfortable.
Well, that's right, because you're cheating a little bit. Yeah. So if you have the ankle really should be flat on the ground, right? Yeah, he's kind of cheating himself. He's giving himself trying to give himself a little bit of external rotation.
Doing that.
Exactly. So he wants that ankle, get that ankle flat.
Yeah, because I can't even like sit over that.
Right, exactly. So it's going to be rough for him for a while, but that's okay. So he would just start out with this just seated version, when he could progress over time to the other version there to get him some rotation.
You can do this cold.
No, I would warm up first. That's why just that little thing we just did before, just to kind of get the hips moving. Now, if you guys are a little more advanced and you don't have as many problems, you can also do this from a squat position. And I definitely don't recommend this for Bill to do this at this point because it would put a lot of stress on his knee because his hips just aren't mobile. So what I would do here is I would weight my right heel, take all the weight off the left, and I'd drop it down, keeping my torso straight ahead. If I didn't have this hip internal rotation, I'd have a ton of pressure on my knee. If you're feeling a ton of pressure on your knee doing this, you probably should regress back to the other one and flip it back up, come back to the squat. Let's weight the left side. Remember the heel, not the toe. Fold this down, back up, weight, fold down. Right, so we're getting some internal rotation on that too with a fixed pelvis from that squat position, which you can imagine is super useful, you know, in Jiu-Jitsu. I'm sure you could find yourself in some crazy positions. So that's a nice little sequence for getting some hip internal rotation. Do you have any questions on that?
That's about it. Yeah, got to work on it.
Well, I do too. I'm certainly not, you know, I'm not a, you know, 5 gold star mobility. You know, this is a constant thing I'm working on too. So, but it'd pay huge dividends preventing knee injuries to really sort out that hip mobility.
Yeah, and then maybe just because we talked about it, the external stretch that you had mentioned, which is putting this here and then just hugging.
Or you can, what I like to do is actually put this heel up here, reach underneath, grab your thigh, and you can interlock your hands, and then you can kind of pull back like that. Right. Like that. So he has crazy external rotation. So that's not a movement that he really needs work on. You can see how good that is. But yeah, that's a good, if you have a problem with external rotation, that's a really good one to do. But anyway, so yep, so you guys keep the questions coming.